We're breaking down 9 simple and effective moves to quickly level up your vocal productions and your vocal mixes. But first, I have a question for you. Have you ever spent a ton of time just grinding on a vocal, recording it, editing, mixing it, remixing it, maybe remixing it over and over again, and then the worst thing happens? You push play and you absolutely hate the way it sounds. Then to make matters worse, you go put it against a song and mix that you love, that you know sounds good, and your worst fears are confirmed. Your vocal actually doesn't sound very good. Well, my name's Christian Hale, and I remember at the beginning of my music career over a decade ago being just right there. I would spend days and days trying to perfect the art and craft of vocal editing, vocal production, vocal mixing, but I hated the way my vocal sounded. I would work and work and work, but never really get the end result I was shooting for. My vocals never sound as good coming through the speakers as what I was hearing in my head. But fast forward over the last 10 years, I've been a full-time music producer and songwriter here in Nashville. I've had the opportunity to work on a bunch of really cool stuff and frankly work with and learn from a bunch of people a lot smarter than me. And over this time period, I figured out some simple and effective moves that will work for you regardless of style, regardless of genre, and on nearly every single song you're working on. So without any further ado, let's get into this video and start breaking down these 9 simple and effective vocal production and vocal mix moves. So move number 1 is to get yourself a really solid and effective vocal tracking chain. I'm going to show you what I use every single day. So my vocal tracking chain is this. I'll start with a microphone. Usually for me, that's my large diaphragm tube condenser, my manly reference cardioid, but sometimes I'll use a dynamic mic like this SM7B, but this tracking chain will work for you on a wide variety of microphones. So just take whatever mic you have and run it through this chain of plugins and it'll work great for you. So I'm working with the UAD, Apollo, and Console, all that good stuff. I'm sure you guys are familiar with UAD, and I always run through this chain of plugins right here. I'm going through channel 1 right here, and I run through my UAD Neve 1073, and I pretty much always set it between 35 and 40 or 45, one of those settings right here. 35 if it's a louder singer or in a louder part of a song. 40 is kind of home bass. 45 is a lower gain singer, but set it like that. I don't do any EQ. Just copy these settings. You got them right here. Then I'll run that through my UAD Blue Stripe 1176, attack set right here always, release set like this right here always, output kind of always around 18. And then what I'll do is I'll just drive the input knob somewhere kind of between 48 to 36, just until the needle's moving a little bit here. And in UAD, as some of you guys I'm sure know, there's a monitor mode or a record mode. I always have it in record mode when I am tracking vocals to commit just this little bit of compression and some gain staging happening in that compression pre-Pro Tools. So again, the signal is microphone of your choice through the Neve 1073 in UAD console, through this Blue Stripe 1176 right here, and straight into Pro Tools. Super effective tracking chain. I use it on all sorts of styles, all sorts of genres, male, female, rap, country, pop, hip hop, indie, like anything. That'll work for you 99.9% of the time. To give you an idea of what that dry chain without any mix sauce or mixing plugin sounds like, take a listen to this, and then you'll be hearing the same vocal mix throughout the course of this video. But here's the dry chain.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift off the ground. We're unfolding now.
And what I like so much about that chain of plugins and the sound of that dry vocal is it's really clean. It allows me through mixing to take it a bunch of different ways in the song if I need to. So great and effective tracking chain right there. Move number 2 is high quality editing and cleanup. I think when a lot of people think of editing, they think of time correction or pitch correction only, but I even want to take it one step simpler. And I'm talking specifically just cleaning up dead space and noise in your vocal tracks. Let me go show you in the playlist here the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So if I zoom out right here, just in these 2 playlists right here, you can see the words come in right here, or the word or the verse comes in right here. If I go solo this up though, you can hear a bunch of junk, me and the singer talking in the room, lip smacks. Like, let's see what this sounds like. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, all of that stuff, 99.999% of the time, you don't ever have a need for. So just get in the habit of always getting rid of that stuff. Any noise, any mouth clicks, any talking in the room, any dead space like that, just kill it. You want to be able to zoom out and have a vocal up here on my main take that has breaths to if that's what you're going for, but typically I'll preserve breaths to preserve some of the human feel, but noise, mouth clicks, room noise, just get rid of all that junk to give yourself a really clean vocal that on the final take sounds something more like this in solo.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift off the ground. We're unfolding now.
So move number 3 and 4 actually go together hand in hand, so we're gonna discuss the two of these together. Move number 3 is to split off your lead vocals into multiple different tracks, and then with that, move number 4 is to apply slightly different effects from section to section in the mix. Let's start breaking this down a little further. On this song we're demonstrating on right here, you can see that I've done this. So these purple tracks are my lead vocals, and you can see right here the majority of the lead vocal kind of in the verses is on this track right here, but there's this lead ah track because the chorus, as you'll hear in a minute, is really just this vocal that sings ah, and that's over here on this track. Let me show you in the context of the track what the verse sounds like, then the ah over here, then I'm going to show you in solo why I actually split up these vocals into multiple different tracks.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift off the ground. We're unfolding now.
Yeah, and if you could hear, there were some slightly different treatments happening in that ah section than there were on the verse section. Let me show you in solo. Listen specifically for vocal effects, reverb, and delays, the differences between the verse and the chorus in solo.
We're unfolding now.
Hear how much drier that verse vocal is from the chorus vocal? Differences in effects are probably the primary reason why I will split off my lead vocals. I like to pretty often do this, and sometimes I'll do it by verse, pre chorus, maybe chorus 1 different than chorus 2. I'll have the same effects in my session, but send slightly different amounts from section to section, maybe a little drier in the verse, like on this song, or a little wetter in the chorus, more reverb, more delay, more widener, whatever, just to add a little bit more interest to the song, the mix, the arrangement as we go on. That's reason number 1. And by splitting it off, you don't have to do near as much automation. The other reason, though, is sometimes I'll do slightly different EQ moves based on a singer's register in the verse, let's say, versus the chorus. You know, if a singer's singing up high in their register, there might be more brightness that you have to tame with some EQ or soothe, de-essing, something like that. Whereas in a verse where they're singing lower in their register, there might be more lower mid-range. So I find that it's really efficient, simple, and effective to split off your lead vocals into multiple different tracks for different treatments per the section. Move number 5 is to establish a good template and workflow. If you scan at my session right here, I pretty much always work regardless of style, regardless of genre, from this template with my chain of plugins set like this. I'll have right up here in purple multiple different lead vocal tracks that all feed this lead vocal aux. I have auto tune set up, all the plugins set up, and some mix sauce right here on the aux. I have my background vocal tracks right here that are always in blue that feed background vocal auxes. And then I'll have my black tracks right down here that are various vocal effects, all preset, all ready to go. I wanted to create my template and workflow to work on a wide variety of singers, styles, and genres. So I think that's something important for you guys to do when you're creating your own template. Make sure you're not going to pigeonhole yourself into one sound, one style only. And if you want a really good starting point, you can actually get my exact vocal chain, my exact vocal template over on my website, christianhale.co/store. Get these settings right here, and in a different video down in the description below, I actually broke down plugin by plugin my vocal chain, my vocal template. I did it over a male pop country song, and that's the exact same plugins we're using right here on this female kind of indie vocal as well. So christianhale.co/store to get that vocal chain. Move number 6 is a little more mix specific, and that is to stage and stack your compression and limiting over multiple different plugins. In my chain right here, I actually have 5 different plugins acting as compression and limiting on my lead vocal track. And I don't know why it works this way, but I find that if I'm going to go try to get like 20 dB of compression, all my compression in my vocal mix out of one plugin, it can sound really squashed and choked and not very good. But I want that compressed vocal sound in most of what I'm working on. But I find breaking it up over multiple different plugins, sharing the load a little bit, so to speak, from plugin to plugin, works really effectively. Take a listen to this lead vocal in solo with all the compression in my chain on.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now.
To me, it doesn't sound over compressed. It just sounds nice and forward, like right here through the speakers in your face. Now I'm going to bypass compressor. One, two, three, four, and a clipper that's kind of acting as a compressor. And listen to what happens when I take all that away.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now.
Quite a bit of gain and compression happening across all those plugins, but like you could hear, it sounded pretty natural. It didn't sound like one compressor was just bending the needle over and sounded small and squashed and choked. Let me add these plugins back in one at a time.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift off the ground. We're unfolding now.
So you can really hear and see right there the power of stacked compression and limiting. Speaking of stacking and staging plugins, the next move I want to share with you is to stack and stage multiple de-esser and sibilance control plugins. I actually, on my standard chain, use 3 different plugins to de-ess and control sibilance. And for me, that's the Pro DS, Soothe, and the Waves de-esser. And I think each of those plugins do slightly different things, but kind of like I was talking about, feeling like if you overcompress a vocal with one compression plugin, the vocal can feel kind of small and choked. I found that for me, over de-essing in one plugin can start to make a singer sound unnatural. It can sometimes make a singer sound like they have a lisp or a sock in the mouth, as I sometimes like to say. But again, spreading that love a little bit over the course of 2 or 3 plugins can sound really effective, but also really natural. Taking this vocal back into solo, I'm going to start with all my de-essing and sibilance control plugins off. Then we're going to add them in one at a time. Without anything on though, listen to the S's and how they're just a little bit untamed, a little bit out of control.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now.
That us right here, you could really hear it. And then I'm going to start bringing these in one at a time.
Change won't hold us down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift off the ground. We're unfolding now.
Like, that sounds totally natural. She doesn't sound like she has a lisp, but some of that upper mid range got controlled, especially with the Soothe. And then I find that the Fab Filter Pro DS does a really transparent de-essing, and then the Waves de-esser is almost like a de-harsher for me. So stack your de-essing and sibilance control over a few different plugins. You're going to find something that works really well for you and sounds really natural. Move number 8 is the power of doubles around your lead vocals. It's a tool that you should definitely be aware of if you're not. I don't always double lead vocals in songs I'm working on, but it's a really cool color that we pulled into this song that's really effective. Let me show you what this song sounds like with these doubles, which is just this singer singing. She tracked her lead vocal, then she sang right on top of herself. We panned it left, then she sang again and we panned it right. Then we time corrected it all up nice and tight so it sounded natural. But listen to this verse with the doubles in, and then I'm going to take them out, then I'll add them back in.
Change won't hold us
Take them out.
down. We're unfolding now. Wings lift
Put them
off
in.
the ground. We're unfolding now.
Like, that's just a really cool color. You might not want that color all the time, but you might want that color. This song is maybe kind of breaking the rules of what I might normally do, but it's pretty common for me in verses and pre-choruses to just do a mono lead vocal. And then in the choruses, start stacking up, doubles or quads even sometimes, or doubles with gang vocals, just to make that lead vocal feel a little bit larger than life. But doubled lead vocals are super effective and powerful color that you should use when you need that sound. And this brings us to move number 9, which is saturation and tone shaping on your vocal effects. I'm sure a lot of you watching have some really good vocal effect settings you'd like, some of your favorite reverbs and delays. And again, if you want my exact settings, go watch the video down in the description below. But something that I think you can do that's really low-hanging fruit to make your reverbs, delays, and vocal effects sound just a little bit cooler is doing some tone shaping and saturation. So to give you an example of this X verb right here, which is one of my go-to vocal reverbs, I have good old faithful Valhalla Vintage verb on the concert hall setting, as I'm sure a lot of you do. But I have some EQ going on before it and after it, just to shape it in the specific frequency range I want, as well as Sound Toys Decapitator just to give that reverb a little bit of saturation, a little bit more harmonic information to sound a little bit more interesting in the mix. And if we just scan through some of my different vocal effects here, like this plate reverb, I have a little bit of Decapitator on, or this delay right here, I have a little bit of Decapitator on. I do this quite a bit just to add some subtle interest, and it's not like I'm pinging the needle doing tons of drive on what I want to be clean reverbs. But in the case of this, which these are my cleaner reverb and delay tracks, I'm adding just a little bit of saturation. Let me show you over here on the ah track where there's a little bit more reverb, what some of that sounds like in solo. And you could hear there when I was moving the needle what that effect's doing, but you just want to kind of saturate to taste. You can go harder if you want more of a driven reverb sound. That's really cool. But even on a cleaner reverb and delay, a little bit of drive, a little bit of saturation will make your vocal effects sound just a little bit more interesting. So those are 9 simple and effective moves and tips to help you level up your vocal productions and vocal mixes today. I would advise you to just start by taking 1 or 2 of these and incorporate them into your vocal production workflow you already have. And then once you have those incorporated into your workflow, maybe grab another 1 or 2 and start bringing those in. Play around with this, bring it into what you're already doing, and see how it might help you level up your vocal productions and vocal mixes. If this video was helpful, give this video a thumbs up, drop me a comment down below, let me know what your favorite tip was, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell for more content just like this. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we'll see you again real soon.